Touchdown with Aaron Masemola. On the bench with local legends. Your questions, your heroes.
So welcome to the Touchdown with Aaron Masemola. And of course, this weekend is an incredibly exciting weekend in terms of the world of sports in South Africa. We finally get to see football back on our screens, and we have the Nedbank Cup semi-finals at the Orlando Stadium. Now, joining me is a man that we know all too well in terms of South African football, a former South African footballer himself. He's played for many teams in South Africa, and of course for Bafana Bafana as well. He usually played in the left side of the field, usually as a winger and also as a left back at times, and is currently the assistant coach at Bidvest Wits. Dillon Sheppard, how are you doing?
Hey Aaron, good in yourself, man. Really well. Very excited. So yeah, let's see what is going to present now in the next 28 to 30 days, eh?
Oh, it will be very exciting, because I'm certain the boys are buzzing with excitement just to get back on the park. I mean, 5 months without any football. How has that been for the team?
It's been really difficult, because if you're thinking that right in the beginning we were prepared to play after 2 weeks, it was crazy. But then, you know, you get a couple of I think every team had a couple of positives, and you know, the protocols and all the government, and with the PSL and SAFA, so you know, there was week on there was delays, and then you know, now we're sitting at 6 weeks. So every week we were preparing to play for the weekend, because you know, it wasn't really clear on what was happening. But now we say, now after 6 weeks of training, you know, the preparation has gone as well as it can, as well as it could. Yeah, and the boys are ready to go. You know, I think from a physical, the challenges that we're going to be facing is going to be really tough. But like I said, on the mental, you know, we've got a great bunch of players that are very professional, and I think mentally they'll be really well prepared.
Definitely. And I think you do mention a lot of the uncertainty that we saw with the COVID-19 present to South African sport, but also one of the talking points when it comes to Wits, we've seen the TTM team from Limpopo purchase the PSL status from Wits as well. And a lot of sporting fans have been talking about this, what goes into a big decision like this. And you are now behind the scenes. I mean, you are an assistant coach. How has the team managed this whole situation? I mean, talking to the players as well as making sure that fans understand exactly what happened and why it is so important.
Yeah, sure. Very difficult. I mean, just from a personal, I've been with the club 6 seasons now, as a player, winning the league, and then started coaching. My passion went over from the playing side to the coaching side, and if you see our academy in the last 4 years, how we've got players like the Kunyeris and the Humans into the first team from last season, and they were still part of our MBC squad. Some of our young talent that we had just brought in over this last season, some of the young players that we have brought in, it was really exciting. And then you get hit, you see the news and you go, but there's this linked to TTM, you know, the sale of TTM. We all believe, no, it can never be our club. I mean, a club that's been around 99-year history, you know, you could never believe it. And then all of a sudden, you know, where they say when there's smoke, there's fire. You know, the story started getting stronger. And then we were hit on the 16th of June by with the news from our chairman to say that, you know, the club has been sold. So, yeah, and then, it's something that it's difficult to take, difficult to swallow. Like I say, you know, when you have so much passion and so much, you've given so much time. I mean, the staff and everyone that's been involved. I mean, we're talking about personnel that's been with club 23, 25, like George, 38 years at the club, you know, and you know, their whole life has been around the club. So to see that and hear that kind of news, yeah, it's never going to be taken easy. And you know, since the 16th of June when the news did break out, you know, obviously there was a lot of uncertainty on how things were going to go and who. So the players were sold with the team. You know, unfortunately everyone else was going to get retrenched. Yeah, so very difficult. Very difficult. So obviously the coaching staff was not involved in the deal. So it was only the players. And then we had the owner of TTM come down and address us, Mr. Malotsi. He was quite clear on how things were going to operate. So obviously you've probably read in the news, players were being sold off. So, one by one players that were told probably couldn't afford, or players that was never going to be able to go across. And then you had players out of contracts. Okay, that speaks for itself. And then there's the players that have current contracts that need to go to TTM. Now, that's something that they have to make decisions with their agents and have to discuss. So it's a process all over the place. And the timing, of course, the timing's never. I mean, the timing of the club, of the sale was never going to be great. But just now with COVID and everything that's happening and the uncertainty in sport, let alone football. So to go now through this period, and now you've got to prep guys who don't know their futures and we've got 10 games left, But like I say, I think being in sport all these years myself, being in football, it's not something new that these things don't happen. You prepared, 1 minute you got a contract, next minute you told you surplus your requirements. So those things happen in our game all the time. So you kind of got it in the back of your mind, and preparation is there. And that is like it is. I was a player, 35 at Maritzburg. I got told, hey, listen, you go sign a contract. You get there and they go, no, we don't need you anymore. You go sit at home. So, those kind of things happen. And then, you're jobless. And then all of a sudden you get phoned and said, can you give me 6 more months? You end up playing 3 more years, win a trophy. Football, it just throws you. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in the coaching. So from a personal story, that's how it is. It's like that in football. But yeah, I think mentally, thank goodness we've got very, very strong mental players that are mentally strong to come into this bubble now. And I promise you now, you'll see a Bidvest Wits, the same Bidvest Wits that you've seen in the last couple of years, competing at the top. That will give you all of that, no doubt with our players. But it's not an easy situation.
I think the uncertainty is one of the things that almost could weigh heavy on the team, and I'm so happy that the teams are actually finding it in terms of just making that mental shift to say, these are off the field issues. Let's now just focus on the games that we have ahead for the rest of the season. Now, looking at your games, one has to admit it's quite a difficult month that lies ahead for you guys. I mean, 11 games roundabout over the next month or so, at roundabout an average of a game every 3 days. How is the team dealing with this? And I mean, in terms of fitness, both physically and mentally, are the boys ready?
I think through this whole COVID situation and players have never been off 3 months in their careers unless they've been injured. And you must remember, it goes through a process of getting you ready physically, mentally, and then getting you game ready. And that's a whole process. Now, players are not coming back from injury, so we've had to come back and prepare players in such a short space of time to play 90 minutes. So, like I say, you've got a couple of positive situations. You've got a couple of guys where they have to isolate, they cannot train, and then guys are coming back. So you've got kind of these groups of players that have been there the whole time, and then you've got players who've come in the middle, and then you've got players who had to. So, there's different training, there's players on different levels, and now you're preparing players to play competitively for 90 minutes. That is one thing. Now, preparing players to play every 3 days, 90 minutes, that is something totally different. So, that's why we've had to, draft in the MDC players. I think drafting them in because of this situation is one thing. And I think also, drafting them in because I think deservedly some of them deserve a chance after the MD season that we had. This is an opportunity for them to now show themselves on the big stage, put themselves out there, and I think some of them they've been here for 5 years now, 6 years. I was with them under 17 to see them in the first team. It's one thing just being very proud of them, but seeing them grow and knowing that, listen, I think they're at the right level, and now this is the time to prove that. So it's a great opportunity for them. It goes back to what you're saying. I mean, it's going to be very, very testing, and it's going to be very, very difficult now to control the games, the players with the game minutes, and then we have the 5 substitutions that they've introduced. So that's also going to be a little bit of advantage to us, with the players and being able to make changes after 50, 60 minutes, hopefully, if they've, see how long they last.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I think I'm quite excited for those young players. I mean, this is a big opportunity for them, which I'm certain they will grab with both hands. And looking at the return of football, we've heard about this bio bubble. I would like a little bit from your perspective, a little bit of behind the scenes. What actually goes into this bio bubble to ensure that we as South Africans can enjoy football?
Well, football's under the microscope because, it's the only sport that's back now. So it's important that all the protocols and everything that government has put in place and our football body, SAFA and the PSL, it's important that we, like I say, we're under the spotlight now. So things are done properly. So our medical staff, everything's been put out. Like I say, all protocols are being followed. I mean, sanitizing, the washing of the hands, the masks have to be worn at all times when we get, I'll just give you an example. We get downstairs, we get tested, we get screened. Then obviously the sanitizer the hands before we get on the bus, the sanitizing on inside the bus, and then getting off the bus, so our hands get sanitized. Then we have to, as coaches, we got snoods, which we wear over to cover. So I mean, obviously the footballers, while they're training, they pull it down so they can obviously breathe. And then as soon as training stops, everything, the masks come back on, sanitizing again. All the equipment is sanitized during training, after training. Get back on the bus, get off the bus, social distancing in a line to get back into the hotel. The washing of the hands, the screening, back into the hotel. Everything is done, and we all staying in our own rooms. So that's also really, really important. And like I said, we have different times for different groups to eat, so we can't all eat at the same time. So yeah, it's time consuming, but very needed, and like I say, with us being under the spotlight, we've got a lot of compliance officers here making sure that everything is checked, and like I say, so far so good.
Oh, definitely. I think it's so important for those protocols to be observed, because I think the last thing that anybody wants in South Africa is to have a positive case. And I'm so happy to hear that all the protocols are being observed as well. And then looking at your return fixture, I mean, it's a big one against your former club as well, Mamelodi Sundowns. I'm certain that won't be easy. But in terms of consistency and just wanting to start your restart to your season in a good way, what are some of the focus points that you guys will be looking at?
Sundowns are best. Over the year they've been leading the way in Africa. I mean, they're a top team. They've been in camp for 2-3 weeks now, so they will really be the side to beat come league and cup. So to face them first game is going to be a very, very tough ask. But in saying that, we've got nothing to lose. It's a semi-final. Their 12th man, the crowd is not there, which is it's a big. I wouldn't say it's an advantage, because I think the playing fields are level, but we've got to focus more on what we need to do. I can't say we know exactly what they're going to do, but Sundowns are Sundowns, so they will always do what they do, and we need to focus on. There's a couple of areas where they're very, very strong. We need to make sure that we do the right things, and it's a cup game, so anything can happen. It's a game of 90 minutes plus the extra time, and then we take it from there. But the boys are, like I say, in a good. Physically, you can never say no. We're in the greatest, but I think as the games will come and it will improve, because there's nothing like competitive 90 minutes of football. But we're looking forward to the game. I mean, the guys are ready to go now. Like I say, we've been waiting, and I think our players are in a good mental state for this one.
We're looking forward to it. And for you, I know that you used to don the yellow for Mamelodi Sundowns. How do you feel personally going into this one? I'm sure that there's a part of you that, you still feel something for the team, but now you've changed your colours.
Well, that's it. Always will. I mean, when you go to a club like that, and I went through a lot of good and hard times there. We won trophies, and the good part was really, really good. And then broke my leg. And they supported me. They gave me all the support, and medically, and the personnel and the people there were brilliant, were unbelievable. I'm still in contact with a lot of them there today. They're still very close to me. The way they brought me back, I was in a position of never playing football again, and I ended up playing 10 years. And I have to, go back there and say, from the support I got from from Patrice and everyone that filtered down, into the staff. So yeah, it's always going to be close to your heart. It is. But this is football. When you come to the field and we meet in the tunnel, you get the game face on, and it's war out there. So like I say, it's going to be a very, very tough game. They're a big club and they've represented us well on the continent. But that all falls away when we get out there and on the grass.
Oh, definitely. And trust me, many South Africans are looking forward to this double header heading into this afternoon. So Dillon Sheppard, I just simply wanted to thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I'm certain that the boys will perform very, very well later today. And of course, good luck to the boys. All the best. And I'm certain that we will see some great football on display, since Bidvest Wits doesn't disappoint at all.
Nah, thanks, Aaron. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. And, like I say, it's a semi-final. We got to go out there and do the business. Hopefully, we can account ourselves well out there and keep everyone glued to their screens.
We'll be watching. Good luck. All the best, eh?
Aaron, take care.
Touchdown with Aaron Masemola. On the bench with local legends. OFM Sport. The personalities behind the plays.